When discussing naval combat in World War I and World War II, the dominant force that comes to mind is normally battleships. And why wouldn't it be? These are intimidating vessels with massive gun batteries that could deal damage 20 miles away. Extremely powerful and extremely deadly. But in the age of naval aviation, also extremely vulnerable. These ships would slowly fade away from the public conscious. However, they would have one last duke out before they faded from history. Today on World Made Simple, we'll talk about that final clash between battleships, the Battle of Surigao Straight. Hey guys, Bill here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are discussing our first history topic, and that is going to be the Battle of Surigao Straight. Why Surigao? Well, because apparently you guys have a battleship addiction and I need to feed it, because every time I do a battleship video, you guys go nuts for it. There's a lot of fun comments, there's a lot of good discussions. So I'm going to do our first video in the history category on this battle. So what is this battle? Well, first off, it's a battle between battleships, the last one in fact, and it's between the Imperial Japanese Navy and the United States Navy. It takes place in October of 1944. And for those of you who know World War II, that's not really a good time for the Japanese. In fact, this battle is part of a larger battle called Leyte Gulf, where the Japanese hoped to turn the tide of the war by sending everything they had left of the Americans at once. And you'll kind of see how that went through the course of this battle. Now, if you want me to cover Leyte Gulf, we can do that in another video, but I'm only going to be covering the southern portion of the battle, which is Surigao Strait. So let's talk about kind of the things going on the Japanese side, because a lot of people usually start this from the American point of view, saying what the Americans are doing. I want to change that up and start with the Japanese. So Japan's desperate. They're trying to send everything they have, and frankly, everything they have isn't a whole lot. There are two fleets that are sent to engage the Americans in the south and try and stop the landings at Leyte Gulf to retake and liberate the Philippines from the Japanese. They send a fleet of ships under two admirals, Nishimura and Shima, to take Surigao Strait and attack from the south. Problem is, there's not a whole lot of communication between these two fleets. Shima and Nishimura don't really get along a whole lot personally. It usually doesn't go into professional for them, but there is a bit of conflict. Additionally, they're under two different command structures, so there's even less communication. And there's even less communication because they're not supposed to use radios. This is supposed to be a radio silent operation. So there's almost no coordination between these two admirals. Additionally, Shima stays 50 miles behind Nishimura. This prevents Shima from being able to aid Nishimura should the need arise. This is going to be a problem later on. So the two set off with their ships and head over towards Surigao and are immediately spotted by American aircraft. So they go into this battle immediately with the Americans knowing where they are. The element surprise is gone. The Americans are going to be prepared, and Shima and Nishimura now know this. Some of their ships are damaged by these attacks, but overall the fleet continues moving forward towards the strait. On the night of October 25th, the fleet finally reaches Surigao Strait, and Nishimura's fleet is the first to arrive and enter the strait. However, he runs into a problem almost immediately. The Americans set up several PT boats, small attack craft, along the entrance to the strait, and they begin attacking Nishimura's fleet. These ships don't have any big guns or anything, they're mostly armed with machine guns, but they do have torpedoes, which can very much damage his ships. Luckily for Nishimura, all of them miss, but they do cause his fleet to be in a bit of a frenzy and panic for a little bit. Eventually, he makes it past the PT boats. But the PT boats were kind of the scouts. They send messages to the rest of the American fleet in the area saying, hey, he's coming, get ready. As Nishimura continues forward, the next line of ships opens up on him. This time, destroyers. A mix of American and Australian ships open up with their smaller 5-inch guns and begin firing torpedoes into the water. Unlike the PT boat torpedoes, these hit and hit hard. One of Nishimura's two battleships, the Fuso, is sunk during this point in the engagement, and because there's no radio contact, Nishimura does not find out. So he continues forward, not realizing that he's already lost a few ships. Additionally, every single ship in his fleet has been damaged at this point in one way or another. His own flagship, the battleship Yamashiro, has been damaged substantially. But he knows this is Japan's last chance to turn the war around. So he continues forward. Meanwhile, some of you are going, what's Shima doing? Well, Shima still isn't even in the battle site yet. The last message he got from Nishimura was, hey, we've engaged the PT boats, and that's it. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and Shima has no idea now, and things are about to get worse. As Nishimura plows ahead, he is locked on by 6 American battleships. These 6 battleships are part of a larger task force that also has additional cruisers and destroyers, all with their guns trained on Nishimura's coming fleet. Something to note is that these battleships that the Americans have aren't just any battleships. 5 out of the 6 that are present are actually ships that were sunk at Pearl Harbor and refloated and repaired. And now they're back with a vengeance. The West Virginia, one of the victims of Pearl Harbor, is the first ship to get the Japanese forces in her crosshairs. She turns her 16-inch guns on the Yamashiro and opens fire. Minutes later, 4 of the other battleships in the line do the same. Only one, the Pennsylvania, is unable to engage due to issues with tracking systems on the ship. All the others, though, very much do open fire. Yamashiro is straddled by fire from cruisers, destroyers, and the 5 battleships. Nishimura realizes this is a losing fight. At some point, the Yamashiro turns around, but it's too late. The ship slowly sinks into the Pacific and is gone within minutes. When the Yamashiro sinks, she takes Nishimura with her, and this means the fleet is now leaderless. The ships begin scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, and the Americans continue firing on them. The only reason the bombardment's actually called off because there are reports of friendly fire, and one of the ships has been heavily damaged. So Nishimura's fleet is pretty much destroyed, but 2 of the ships are able to start steaming south away from the battle, or so they might think. Shima's force finally pulls up to the entrance of the strait and is attacked by those PT boats again. This time they're a little bit more effective, and Shima is having to maneuver, deploy smoke screens, do whatever he can to get away from these ships. As he's doing so, the Mogami, one of the 2 survivors from Nishimura's fleet, comes out of all of the smoke and flames and rams the stern of Shima's flagship. Shima kind of sees this as a sign, looks around and says, this battle is lost, and calls a full retreat. While he does so, the American forces continue to attack them even the next day as the Japanese withdraw. Out of Nishimura's entire fleet, only 1 ship, a destroyer, makes it out. This battle is regarded as one of the greatest military ambushes in history. And the reason that America's warships were so effective wasn't just because of the radar, the range, and the improvements they had in technology, but also because of a tactic known as crossing the T. America had all of their battleships stationed like this across the entrance of the strait, while all of Nishimura's ships came up like this. In this position, all the American battleships are able to fire all of their guns simultaneously at one target. Nishimura has the opposite. He's only able to use his forward-facing guns to fire at the enemy. This very rarely happens so well in naval history, especially between battleships. But in this one instance, it was a picture-perfect ambush. The Americans had a triumphant victory in Surigao Strait, and the Japanese forces were all but destroyed in this engagement. While they didn't realize it at this time, this would be the last time that battleships clashed. Never again would these steel giants fire guns at one another from point blank or from 20 miles away. This was truly the last clash of these iron giants. But as we know, this wouldn't be the last time battleships would be used in combat, with the Iowas being reactivated during the Cold War. But that's a different story for another video. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you want to see more of these videos like this, please let me know in the comments below or leave a like, either one helps. Regardless though, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on Monday. Enjoy the weekend.